Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 1st meeting of the Hyde Park Planning Board. Please take note of all the exits around the room in case of emergency, and now join us as we salute the American flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is a new public hearing for Joseph's Steakhouse. The applicant is seeking approval for an exterior modification. For those of you who've been driving by, you can see there's new garage doors on the triangle. Making a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. There's no consultant comments, I know, on this one. Would anyone from the audience like to speak about this application? That's what I thought as well. Consultants, any comments? Consultants, colleagues, any comments?
No.
Nope. Making a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And Ms. Weiser, you got the award tonight for the resolution.
I know.
You get to read every single one tonight.
I thought she was going to assign all of them to me. Okay, resolution granting site plan amendment approval, Joseph's Steakhouse. March 1st, 2023, resolution number 2023-01A, whereas. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby conditionally approves the site plan amendment and authorize the chair or his authorized designee to sign the site plan amendment after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees in escrow.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. And Mr. Wilson, Joseph is just in here. I sent him back home on his way. The next item on the agenda is a new public hearing for Maskell lot line alteration. Make it a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So those in the audience, we normally start with our consultants. Is there anyone from the applicant's representatives here tonight? No. So Pete, let me ask you some.
You have an
Oh, you are?
Sure, yeah.
Wait, yes, come on up, sorry. Come on up.
They look familiar.
I'm afraid I watched you on YouTube the other day with a little teeny screen. That's why I didn't recognize. So I think when we first met, we discussed that this is actually, should be simple, but it's complicated because of the past legal history. And I watched the meeting last time, and I have to confess I was a little confused as well. It could be because I was in the Caribbean drinking. No, just teasing. Although I was there for a wedding. But at any rate, is there anything you want to add between that last meeting and now?
So since last meeting, we've updated the site plan with the town, the requirements, the road frontage, and the, forgive me, we adjusted the density.
To assign which lot could get the future development.
Right, and a Town of Hyde Park signature line.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's what I was able to see when I got back. Bonnie, do you have any comments? Or wait?
No, she's not involved in this.
That's right. So, Pete, do you have any comments? Mr. Stern?
Yeah, so yesterday, I think that the main topic here has been what, if anything, is going to happen to the end of the current roadway. I didn't want to say
Cul-de-sac, right?
cul-de-sac, because it's not. So anyways, so, like, as you know, there's a proposal to sell an unused portion of the town right away to Maskell, and we had gotten a letter from the fire department, just because it's normally we refer these applications to them. So they said that look, the current dead end of the road doesn't really meet any kind of requirements. Who knows why back in the day? I don't know when it was constructed, maybe in the 70s or early 80s. I don't remember when, but it was never completed right. So there's been a lot a back and forth in terms of what, if anything, should happen to the end of the road. To build the town's normal cul-de-sac is not feasible. The town is not going to build that. It's not feasible to ask the applicant, like to build that. So anyways, there's been a lot of back and forth. So yesterday, I circulated a sketch, which is a hammerhead type, design that I've used before, that is part of the New York State Fire Code. And I just said, look, if there's some way to make this like equitable for everybody, so that perhaps a turnaround such as a hammerhead could be built by Maskell, assuming that they're in like agreement with that, at the time of when they apply for a driveway permit. Now, there have to be some like discussion, which, what is like equitable, how much is this going to cost, what's the town land being sold for? I mean, we don't need to get into that like here. But, I mean, I believe that we should work something out that is good for the town. We get a better turnaround than we have now that would meet more of the highway department's needs, but certainly meet more of the fire department's like needs. And at the same time, Maskell would get that piece of, property. So that's like my
So,
opinion.
Pete, just to be clear, and I think the applicant should probably do a presentation of what's proposed, because we have a lot of people in the public who might be interested.
Right.
Do we have the technical ability to do that now that we don't have our?
I mean, it's up.
Up, there we are.
There was a request that they make sure they speak into the microphone because they couldn't hear you in the audience before, Patrick.
So we did get a revised update. So is that being proposed or is that an alternative?
That's what I have on there right now.
I can't.
We
that?
don't want to do that. That's more of trying to fit in the town's current like design.
Yeah,
And-
so making
and
sure that
it's
that
not gonna-
property would be available.
And it's not going to fit. So that's why I sent
They
around,
turned it.
that's why I sent in like an alternate that, like, I know would meet the fire department's like needs, but we'd have to talk to them about it.
Okay. I thought they rotated it so it would fit here.
Yeah, maybe it was rotated like a little bit. But again, we can get into this, like offline maybe, but that's a very big,
It's big.
it's very, very big, and I don't think that Mr. Maskell is going to want to pay for that, and I can tell you that the town is not going to go, and pay for it. So I thought we could come up with some like alternative that would satisfy, like everyone, maybe.
Right, and I think there's two issues. One is setting aside the land so that it's not prohibited from being developed. And the second, I think, is what should actually be built out at this time. So,
These are issues that are also involving the town board.
Right, correct.
Because of the conveyance of the town property to it. And as background you're all neighbors, so you probably all know this, but way back when in the 70s when this was developed, the road just petered out. It wasn't developed to town standards, but even the standards back then. And Lord knows what happened, but there apparently was no oversight, and so the road exists as it is now. I drove out there before I went down for the wedding, and the road isn't even in great shape on the sides as you go further and further in, I'm aware. But it's also because, I believe what we're saying is because the town has allowed this to exist all these years, we don't want to overly burden Mr. Maskell to say, well, it's your fault now that you're buying it, so you have to correct everything. In addition, the turnaround width, I believe, for the fire trucks is 47 feet, somewhere in through there, which if you left it as it is right now, it would encroach onto lots 11 and 12. I believe
Right.
that's under one owner, which we can't do either. In other words, this was a mistake. Hold on, we'll call on you, but yeah. This is a mistake that happened a while back, only because we can't hear you on the microphone, that's why. So is this something that we should schedule a meeting with the town board to come
Yes,
here
we
with
should,
as well?
we should meet with the supervisor or have an offline-like discussion. And one more thing, so if a regular town cul-de-sac were to be built versus like a modified hammerhead-type like design, and again, the hammerhead would meet the New York State like fire code.
Right.
It is in there, I've done it, I'm currently like working on one on a job, so, but the hammerhead would also severely limit future like development of, of this like parcel if the applicant so like chose to, look to go do that versus if the town standard cul-de-sac was to be built, there's a lot more options for access off of a bigger, like
Because it's
cul-de-sac.
spatula shape as opposed, I think that's what I'll call it, as
Right,
opposed to.
spatula
Yeah,
shape,
as
so-
opposed to the hammerhead.
So, anyways.
If you have the hammerhead, wouldn't it be possible if the applicant decides to develop and produce more than one house, couldn't you just extend the town road and lop off the two hammerhead sides at that point?
Well, if you want, yes, you could. That's correct, you could.
I'm just thinking that if there might be.
But that's to go through all that to extend, the town road
There's a lot.
versus, trying to get probably like one extra lot out of it. I don't know if that would be cost effective. It could be, I don't know, but,
Okay.
so anyways,
So why don't we have them tell us where they're at?
Right.
Right now.
They're sitting in front of us, just teasing.
Do you want me to explain the maps to the public?
that's
Yeah.
it, right. if you just
Although
do
it's
that.
it's probably hard to see.
You're gonna have
you're
to
gonna
take the
need to use
microphone
them
with you,
like-
because I don't know where the other one is right now.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Sorry.
Every once in a while, we have one of those Keystone Cops nights, and welcome to it.
And it would be tonight.
So, this is a lot line adjustment. Joshua Maskell owns this parcel and this parcel, which originally went all the way
A
around
little closer with the mic.
to the end of
yeah.
Hillcrest.
Nope, hold it back up.
Nice and loud. So the proposal is to change the lot lines on these two lots, to remove the lot line right here and to create a new lot line right here. This basically leaves this lot unchanged with its access still off of North Cross, excuse me, 9.5 acre lot. And the whole purpose of this idea is to allow this lot to not have to have an access off of Route 9. Safety, all sorts of things. So the proposal would be to have the entrance for this land off the end of the cul-de-sac, which isn't really a cul-de-sac. To go into it further, and the complicating part of this, the end of the current town road is right about here, and as mapped from the 70s, 60s, as has been said, was all the way down here. So the road should have been built all the way down to this cul-de-sac, in which case we wouldn't be having this complicated discussion.
Right.
But instead, we have what we have now, and the major issue at hand is how the town will be able to potentially create a legal turnaround for fire trucks and snowplows at the end, near the end of the existing road.
And whose obligation it is to create said turnaround.
And whose obligation it would be to construct the actual turnaround.
Yes.
Putting this more simply, back when the town took possession of that road, it should have been built, they should have inspected it before they took possession.
Right. Yep, absolutely. The road should have been fully built all the way down to the cul-de-sac, which would have been legitimate at the time, and
Who's the engineer?
this complicating factor wouldn't exist.
Is that Andrew?
No, Pete would have been a young lad back then, like I was in the 70s, sorry, it's been that long.
I think another important thing about this, what we're talking about tonight, is that nothing is going to change as far as fire service or snow plowing. Everything's going to be the same until a proposal is made to, potentially develop that lot. So it'll really be status quo until the development of that lot is thought of and proposed.
Except
But
that you're
you're-
moving the line to
Right.
incorporate the town property into your own lot. So that is a change, and that's what started the conversation, was when we change a lot line, it has to be in compliance with the code. So that's how we ended up with this whole discussion.
But you're two lots now, and you're not, and so this proposal does not increase the number of lots here. It just
Correct.
It just
Potential for
changes
future
around
development.
the lot line. So you're not adding any new lots to the development.
It won't affect the physical improvements that are there that the fire department or highway department could
Right.
use.
Right,
It's just modifying
right.
a lot line tax map.
Yep.
Anything else you want to weigh into, Victoria?
Well, so, I'm not sure we need to go and have another meeting with the town board. I think the planning board can decide what's appropriate from a subdivision perspective, and then the applicant can work out
Right.
money details with,
Right.
with the town board.
Right.
I don't
I
know if we
think-
need to delay this process,
That makes it a lot easier for the applicant as well.
because that's between them and the town board.
Speeds it along.
Do we have to, in their discussion with the town board, is it critical that we have established what the actual turnaround is going to look like, whether it's a hammerhead or a spatula or what's proposed right now, which
Um,
nobody likes?
Yes, I mean, if it was just a regular subdivision application without town board as a party, if it was two private parties, the planning board would be weighing in on the design of the terminus of the road. So,
We would still do that.
yes.
I would
That's what I
say,
thought.
I would say if we make it a proper turnaround subject to approval of the highway department and the fire department, maybe.
Throw it off to them.
Yeah,
We've
we're
heard from
gonna
the
have
fire
to- we're
department,
gonna have to
and we know what the
design.
highway department more or less wants, but it's a final design for it. And was it Mr. Emilio who designed the one I saw most recently?
This one
This
here,
one?
the one, yeah.
Yeah. And then somebody else designed the hammerhead, Peter?
Peter.
Well, I just,
Oh, you did that,
I just
okay.
like sketched it on a map. I mean, that's not 100% like accurate. That was,
Has everyone on the board had a
Just don't
chance to
scale
see the
it.
hammerhead look? No? Yes, I didn't think so. This was just only circulated to a few people, that's why.
So what are you proposing right now? Are you proposing to change your lot line to incorporate the hammerhead, or is it still an easement? What's the proposal?
Right, so after talking with Pete yesterday, he was gonna propose this hammerhead that might be a good solution, as opposed to the current panhandle or frying pan, whatever you said. So, this seems like a much more logical solution that'll still accommodate fire trucks. It looks, yeah, that's the first I've seen that, just getting a glance at it. I assume Josh and Katie would agree to that. It's not that much land, but to Pete's point, it would develop or prevent potentially a future house right here. So that's a consideration
so all this,
to think about.
so all this would have to be worked out, and there'd have to be an actual design of it put onto the map before the chairman signs the map, and assuming that an equitable agreement between Maskell and the town board in terms of, the money that they're paying versus if they're gonna go build, the turnaround when they apply for the driveway, that's gonna have to be worked out, and that, like, language, I would suggest would be on the final map that, the chairman would sign, that would also have the
signature.
design of it to be like built at the time of Maskell applying for the driveway permit.
And we'd have to alert future highway departments whenever that might happen, that this would have to be triggered for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't happen for like a while, that's correct.
So, in terms of limiting development toward the west, if you did the hammerhead, we'll call it, there's no way to get a drive between that and the property line to access
Well, they
that
have
lot?
to, because there's gonna have to be room, for snow storage, so, most of the area off of the hammerhead is gonna be, reserved for, a snow storage area. And we would have an easement
Snow
there,
easement.
and that would be labeled for snow storage. So,
Wouldn't that be on the north side of the hammerhead that I'm looking at?
I gotta think of north,
Probably the
Driveway's
south.
gonna go.
no, be
Right over
the,
here. Oh,
be the
I think you do a
east, wouldn't it?
driveway here.
North is this way.
I thought Howie wanted to push it this way.
I don't know,
This is
we'll work it out with Howie and the
This is
fire
west, so
department.
this is west. In other words, wouldn't the snow be stored here?
I don't know where they're putting the driveway, right here. So they'd
Where-
probably come down and have to push over.
So, Mr. Emilio, if you had this, where would you put your driveway for?
Right, so, I would say.
Right where he
basically in
has
the
it.
same spot.
Yeah, right where you have
The
it.
snow storage would be down over here.
That's
right,
right. So
exactly.
is there a way to get a driveway here so you don't limit development on this side? Do you know?
Oh, I see. There would be,
Maybe grade issues here, or?
yeah, I guess I was thinking the hammerhead would be further up towards the end house there,
It
but.
could be, again, I
Yeah, okay.
did it in
Sure.
2 minutes.
Right.
So,
And like I said, this is the first time I've seen
Then
this.
that does allow a drive in between.
It
Well,
would.
it theoretically does right now.
Yeah. It would be really close, I don't know if you
So-
could get your septic and a house
So
site
it's
in
not,
there.
I mean, it's the right.
Well, on the one side now,
It's not their land.
now on the east side, there is a 100-foot stream buffer. So any driveway coming off, the east side of that would have to go back to the ZBA because
To encourage them.
we're within, the stream buffer. So that side is pretty well protected.
Agree.
Okay. Okay, I see where this is going, but we still don't have a final design to approve
No.
at this point. So let me, anything else from the applicants?
Oh,
yes, here.
sure.
Here.
We're deciding for you.
So, Mr. Emilio, if you would put the microphone back on the table, and if you guys don't mind kind of moving to the right or the left, I'm going to call on the audience members to come up and speak. They just need to have access to the microphone. And when you're through looking at that, you guys can confer, then we'll talk about that later on. We have people here, I think, who are signed up to speak or would like to speak. The first person, just come on up and just say your name and your address, just for our records. It's for the minutes, that's all.
I just have a couple of preliminaries. My name is Keith Waldron, 2 Prospect Street, so I'm across from the existing property. We got the letter stating we are 150 feet from what's going on. I just want to know, because everything is on the back end of Hillcrest, so how does that affect my property on the corner of Prospect and North Cross when everything is to that back end of that?
Because
It's just a
the property that
property
fronts
goes over
onto, what's that road right there?
Yeah, the property that's getting access, that we're changing the lot line of,
Yeah.
on the back of Hillcrest, it's frontage on North Cross, so you're just within 100
So
feet.
you're-
So it's the house across the street
Right, so
from
you're,
us, in
right,
essence.
so there's nothing going to be
Okay.
going on there.
No visual change.
And I
You
don't know
have
if
the
I'm...
house with all the stone, the white
Yes.
stone.
Yes.
See? I knew it.
Yes. So I don't know if I'm putting the cart before the horse. Is there plans for that other area, that other 9 acres behind there, to do more there? And I would just like to, that would be my only concern, would be to see that and what your proposal is whenever that's going to be.
So Prospect Street is across from North Cross?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Directly across. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay.
So there's no proposal right now.
Okay.
Right now, it's just moving the lot lines for this driveway issue, but
Okay.
there is retained building potential on those lots.
Kind of figured that, yeah.
Yeah.
And they would have to come back before the planning board, and they would go through the
Subdivide, et
process
cetera.
again, and you would, be notified
Yeah.
again
Okay.
of a potential, project. I'm not sure after this application that you guys will want to come back, though,
I
right?
got you. Okay, that's all I had.
Oh, it's
That's all I
not
had.
that bad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Waldron. Anyone else?
Krista Waldron, 2 Prospect Street. My comment was just that what they did in the 70s, they really just made it a dead-end street. They should have just put a sign that said dead end. It's been like that. Instead of having it be a cul-de-sac, it's never been just a dead-end street. And that's how we all refer to it, as a dead-end street.
I hadn't been down there till I drove down, and it is dead end. You know,
It is,
It's not
because
easy to
the
back
house-
up or anything.
And the house on the right, the very last house there is literally no place to put an actual cul-de-sac, because it would literally be right in.
Into their lot.
Their poor people's front yard,
Yep.
which would be, really needs to be taken into consideration. So maybe we just need to keep it a dead end, which I'm sorry to say, because it does affect those on Hillcrest Terrace. There's the water on the left side of the properties, and then you got the house on the very end would really be intrusive on her property, on their property. Just my opinion.
We won't be putting it on their property, I can assure you. It can't go on their property unless the town buys it or someone buys it, subdivides it, takes that piece.
it's right close to their property.
But the
It's very close.
right-of-way in front of their property would be impacted.
Would anyone else like to speak about the application? I promise we don't bite. You're welcome to come on up. So basically, for the audience, what you're hearing is that what they propose, which is the sort of frying pan, as it's called, or lollipop end, isn't really what we do anymore. So we're going to try to work out an alternate design for the turnaround, something that can be done feasibly later, when it would be conditioned on pulling a driveway permit to the when the lot is developed. I'm looking for affirmation there, but that's about
Oh, you
the
want me to
conclusion.
nod?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, okay, I did, sorry.
But I missed a meeting. So we'll have to work with the applicant and keep the public hearing open until we have the final design.
Yes, so I will get with them and Howie and the fire department and, the supervisor, because
Because it's town property as well.
the town. Yeah.
Ms. Moss, do you have any comments back there? None? Any other comments from the board? I didn't call on you individually, but I
Yeah.
can.
So Victoria, would this fulfill our requirements? Because at the last meeting, legally, there was no way for us to even consider
Right.
voting on this.
Right, it has to
It has to.
It has to meet-
It has to be a legal,
turnaround.
yeah.
But, so I think what we were talking about is bifurcating it, and so drawing the line so that a legal turnaround could be
Can be
created in the
constructed in the
future,
future.
and maybe only right now, putting a little bit of asphalt in so that the turnaround, so that there is a turnaround, but not building out to the full town spec, but making it available so it's not precluded. And so I'm not sure we're there yet, but Pete said he was going to go back and design it.
In other words, as long as we can get to where there's a paper version of a legal turnaround, we
Well-
meet the code.
That's what they gave us with this modified panhandle. So if the lines follow that modified panhandle, that's a code compliant terminus, but maybe the whole thing doesn't get built right now.
Isn't it easier and less expensive to do the hammerhead, or am I wrong?
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
But Pete drew the hammerhead within the lines of that panhandle. Yeah.
We'll work it out. So, listen, so I don't think that, well, I shouldn't say that, never, but I don't think that there's ever going to be a full-blown cul-de-sac, snow-de-sac, whatever that we call it, built there, either now or in the future, because the town doesn't want, the only way that would happen is if Josh decided to further, develop, the property. Then we'd have to get into, like a full-blown town-like cul-de-sac. The hammerhead type-like design, like I said, meets, like a version of it, meets the New York State Fire Code. So I don't think we necessarily have to have a legal town highway cul-de-sac there. Now, maybe we want to reserve an easement that would cover that possibility later, but for now, to not burden Maskell, to try to work something out like equitable, because they shouldn't be burdened with, to fix something that should have been done way back when.
I
So,
think all of us up here completely
The
concur.
planning board has the ability to waive improvements going in. So, but you have to have a compliant subdivision. So
Right.
I think what we're saying, and I'm not sure Pete and I are both saying the same thing, the lines have to be compliant, but you can waive the full build-out and paving.
So no asphalt.
So
It
maybe
could be
just a
gravel.
little asphalt that would meet a
gravel.
minimum turnaround. Is that what we're saying?
yes,
Okay.
that's
I think we're saying the same thing.
close enough. That's close enough
We're
for
making-
tonight.
But not precluding the ability to create something
Okay.
compliant
Okay.
in the future.
Yep.
If that other lot is developed or other
And
lots.
that's also assuming that this is acceptable with the fire department and
Yes, so we
and
have to
town
meet,
highway.
I would have to meet with them and Howie,
Okay.
go over, the dimensions.
Right.
Josh, would be there, so.
Right. Okay. So we've come actually a very long way from the last meeting where we couldn't really see a way to legally get out of this. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board
Yeah.
or questions?
They draw the line.
So,
We could-
yes.
We could get
And
an
then
easement.
hammerhead.
Yes, we could do
So
that.
as the applicant, I just want everyone to know that I do want the end of that road to look better than it is now, so, because it's in my interest as my property
Sure.
will value. So I don't want to have to be burdened with the cost of the asphalt, but I'm willing to work with the town. I want it to look nice.
Thank you for
'Cause right-
saying that.
No, right now it does not.
No, I was down there, I saw.
So it's going to impede my property value. I want it to look nice, have my entry look nice. I take pride, I'm a contractor, I build houses, and I take pride. I got 20 years, I'm referred by lots of people.
Your name's on it.
I just also want to clarify, you're not asking us to build this out
before we propose any kind of development in there,
No.
correct? Okay. I just wanna
It would be
make sure.
tied to you pulling a driveway permit, which is basically what you have to get from the highway department before you can start, to build a house, et cetera. So it would be tied, in other words, so what we're trying to do is make sure that you don't have to pay for too much right now, but that at some point in the future, if there is a development proposal, then it would be addressed at that point.
So you'll have, I assume you'll have equipment, materials there when you're doing your driveway. It makes sense to then do that.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
same time.
I mean, that's what I do. I'm a builder.
Right, rather than moving equipment.
The big question is how we legally have me work on town property, though.
That's easy.
That's easy.
Easement.
It's done
So-
all the time, every
so
time a
then-
project goes in.
so then we'll hope to-
As
Yeah.
party, as
So we're
part-
hoping that probably I'll pay like $10 for the land and I'll do the blacktop.
We have nothing to do with the
Talking
money.
to the wrong person.
Oh, okay.
It's the guy behind you
yeah.
there on
We have
that.
nothing to do with the money.
But anyways, I do want it to look nice. Katie,
Path, yes, that's
yeah,
correct.
yeah, so.
That'll just be a discussion, and if Pete's there, the town board could also have an attorney or a client, a legal representative for them to sort of talk about, because I think that, I could be wrong, but I believe when the town conveys property, there has to be an assessment on it.
Yeah.
To stop someone from just saying, hey, this is my sister, I'm going to give it to her for $5, whatever. I think you have to have an appraisal, in other words, on it. That's what I think.
Yes, it has to be sold for fair market value.
Yeah, so in other words, there's some negotiations you'll have with the elected officials, that's all.
Right.
So I think we should adjourn the public hearing to the April meeting, because, right?
Yeah, we'll
To
try
take
to
a
go
while
work
meet
it all out
offline.
before then.
So in order to move this forward, I know that you sent the new plans yesterday, but what would be the deadline for the new plans so we can have a resolution prepared and the board can be ready to vote?
The Wednesday before, so that would be the April, it's the 19th and April the 12th, or April the 11th, for our agenda meeting? Would
Yeah,
that
we'll
give you
get it
enough
done.
time?
We'll get it done before,
Okay.
well before then.
So we're going to adjourn that, we don't have an April 5th meeting, we have an April 19th, so we're going to adjourn this to the 19th. That gives you
April
guys
12th.
time to negotiate and figure out what the
19th
final sort of
meeting.
layout look is.
There's no March meetings?
There's a March 15th, but do you think that's in 2 weeks? Do you have time to get everything settled up before then, do you think?
I don't know, I mean, we have to have a discussion with, the town. Yeah, so,
And they meet once a month, like the third week? Yeah. So, in other words, you've got to tie up some loose pieces there. I'm sure you're eager to move forward. We don't have an April 5th meeting, but if this is something that needs to be rushed,
We could make the town board approval, it's going to be a condition of this. It's just a matter of how fast this meeting, they can design it and turn it around. It would be a 1-week turnaround.
I think all we need would be
Thank you.
the design that's compliant to the fire code, and then we could add that to the sketch, and
and we can condition it on you getting town board something.
I mean, hey, let's, go for it, we can try it, sure, why not?
It's just a public
Let's
hearing.
go
If it
for
doesn't, if you don't get it done by then, we can then
Push
adjourn
it
to the April meeting.
Let's
that's
try
all.
it.
Okay, any
Great,
other
great.
comments from
Thank
the
you very
public?
So it's 1 week, we need the plans a week so we can get everything queued up for the next meeting.
Yeah, because we meet, a non-quorum group meets every Wednesday before the meeting, so we'd have to have it, that basically means that Tuesday beforehand, so we could take a look at it that night.
No, and time is I do have an accepted offer on the other.
Oh!
So I'm ready to close in April, but if I got to talk to the lawyers to push it out, I
May I get a
can.
motion to adjourn this public hearing to March 15th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll try to work with you to get that
Thank you.
rush for
Thank you.
it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm sorry this is taking so long. I said it's complicated because of all the parties involved. The next item on the agenda is Camp Victory Lake Master Plan in Phase 1. May I get a motion to open the public hearing, reopen the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So at our last meeting, we were waiting on the zoning board of appeals to grant variance requests, and the zoning board of appeals have been waiting, I think, for about a year for us to conclude seeker. Once we did, the initial vote was a denial, both of the area variance and the stream corridor incursion. There was, I believe, a lawsuit filed, and the zoning board of appeals voted to put it back on an agenda, and it was reconsidered, and the variances were granted on a 4-to-1, I believe, vote, with one recusal or one abstention. So they now have the variances that they were requesting. As you recall, Mr. Stander came to us, the applicant's representative, and told us verbally all the changes that were going to be made, but they were waiting to hear from the ZBA before they converted those into plans. So we don't have anything new yet and no action to take tonight. But just pointing that out, that this is a master plan and a Phase 1 church. Did I open the public hearing?
Yes.
I did, thank you.
They opened it, right?
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to comment about this application? There being none, no comments from consultants or board colleagues, any comments on Camp Victory Lake? Making a motion to adjourn this to April 19th.
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Santa requested that date, so we'd have plenty of time to get things done. And I want to thank the Zoning Board of Appeals for its reconsidering. Before we reopen the public hearing on the big project, Bellafield, we have a little bit of other business, and these should be quick. The first is Woodpecker General Store. And do we have, Chef Gerard, I believe?
Yes.
Mary, sit down and tell us about your business.
Well, my business is, I am reopening what was once a Hilltop Deli,
Yeah.
so I'm sure many of you are familiar with that building. And my partner and I bought the building outright from the Wadja family, and we're going to reinvigorate it and make a community-based center focusing on local farms, local produce, local wines, local microbreweries. We're going to have a CIA corner, since I've been teaching there for the last 18 and a half years, and many of my colleagues who make products, as well as graduates and students, will have an incubator place to further their careers.
Oh my gosh, even better.
Yeah, we'll have a scholarship for local Hyde Park, Statsburg area residents to go to the Culinary Institute, and we just want to make it, want to be more ingrained in the community. I've been here for 18 plus years, and I'd like to give back.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for investing in our community. Colleagues, do you want to echo anything like that?
It's a great site, and I'm so happy to see something like this go in.
Thank you.
Excellent concept.
Great idea. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Perfect for Hyde.
And you're next to hipster Statsburg anyway, the village down the hill.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we've already been doing events with Friends of Mills.
Nice.
Mary has tied us into the Mills Mansion, and we've done some events for them, as well as Norrie Park for some of their breakfast meetings, and dropped off some items for the church for one time. We've done stuff at the Norrie Park Environmental Center. So, trying to give
it's
back
just
to the
great to see that
community.
site
So-
reactivate.
Yeah.
I saw your website, which is pretty slick and artisanal, as they say. I don't know if are you planning on redoing the interior? Or
We did, and it will be a surprise reveal.
Yeah, I noticed you had.
Yeah, well, you got to generate a little bit of buzz and get people talking about it. So.
That's the reason we like people to talk about this, because we are televised, and believe it or not, we have lots of people who come up to us in the grocery stores and say, "Hey, we saw you on TV."
Oh, nice.
But it helps to advertise. Do you have a soft opening date planned?
We're hoping for March 20th.
Great.
Now, we need a sign so people know, and that's why I'm here.
We'll take care of that for you tonight, Mr. Viverito.
Wow, very good.
Well, the two of us have been up here 17 years, not quite as long as you, but in terms of town, but we've served on the planning board here for 17 years, so I try to make it a habit of learning how to pronounce people's names in advance. Anybody have any questions for Chef Viverito, Chef Gerard? Nope. Welcome, we can't wait to have you open.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope that your business is a huge success.
Yeah.
Because it's nice to see that place not sit empty all the time. And from what I saw on your menu, I think you do catering for weddings as well.
We do.
Do you handle big weddings, like 200 or 300?
Yes, we do.
Wow.
We're the exclusive, my fine catering arm does all the exclusive events at Innisfree Gardens in Millbrook as
Okay.
well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we do pretty big,
Will
up to
this be your
400.
new commissary kitchen, or do you have another place you work out of?
Some of it'll be commissary, but most of our fine events, we build kitchens on site. We'll bring in 18-wheelers full of equipment, refrigeration.
It's like Abigail Hirsch, when you're doing big events, you've got to
Exactly.
have it on premises. Yeah.
35 years in this game, I've learned
I'm sure a lot of
few
large
tricks.
events are used to for fundraisers, so I'm going to adding you to walk over the Hudson's list, et cetera, because I chaired that for 9 years. Anybody else have any other questions or comments? It looks like Ms. Weiser drew this resolution again tonight. I wonder how that happened.
Resolution
Luck of the draw.
recommendation for issuance of sign permit pursuant to Town Code Section 108-24.3A, 4D, Woodpecker General Store, March 1st, 2023, resolution number 2023-06, whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby recommends approval of the sign permit for the Woodpecker General Store replacement freestanding sign as shown.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further comment? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Good luck.
Thank you.
I'll try to stroll over on March 20th.
All right,
Maybe
thank
see
you very
some
much. Hope to
colleagues.
see you all there.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Likewise. Do I need a piece of paper to bring to the sign company saying it's signed off on, or? Oh, okay.
Does that get emailed, Tad? Is that emailed to them? That's right. Look for the emails, Chef. Okay. Thank you. The next item on the agenda, and thank you for your patience, Bellafield team, so we can feel free after this, is All-in-One Beauty Supply. This is also a request for a sign permit. It's both for a wall sign and a tenant panel. This is in the plaza, this will be between Liquorama and LeClerc's Karate. It's Hyde Park Mall technically, but everyone calls it Stop and Shop Mall or something, Plaza. Any questions on the sign itself? We do have to do some relaxation, and for once, we didn't give this to Ms. Weiser. This goes to Mr. Oliver.
Resolution recommending granting of sign permit, all-in-one beauty supply wall sign, resolution number 2023-10, whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board relaxes the standard letter height of 10 inches to 17.22 inches, and be it further resolved that the Planning Board recommends approval of the sign permit for all-in-one beauty supply wall sign.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? There being none, motion carries unanimously. And good luck to All-in-One. I have to confess that when I first thought, I kept saying Allen-One? Allen-One? It took me a moment to look at it with different eyes to realize what the name of the business is. That's not a joke, I did.
I did the same.
Alini.
Yeah, Alany. Next item on the agenda is Bellafield.
We have one.
Sorry, we do.
For all-in-one.
For the monument.
There's two,
Right.
sorry.
Two parts.
Resolution recommending granting of sign permit, all-in-one beauty supply monument sign, resolution number 2023-10A, whereas, be it further resolved that the Planning Board recommends approval of the sign permit for all-in-one beauty supply monument sign.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Now both signs are
There
handled.
you go.
The next item is continued public hearing for Bellafield. This is Phase 2 and part of their first final development plan. Applicants are here tonight. We had some changes since our last meeting, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Leibold and team. Kelly, before, Tony just got here, so the technically ungifted amongst us tried to do this, so I don't know what I did.
It keeps rebooting, that's why the Wi-Fi.
Oh. Or we just relax and watch NCIS?
I'm gonna, Tom asked me to buzz in.
Is it okay now?
Cynthia, did the pointer for the thing not work?
Oh, good.
Oh,
It was just, so we're gonna go ahead and get started? Oh, okay. I'll have Rachel start.
The one that works on this one. Like digital screen pointer? It still didn't work? Digital laser pointer.
Okay, so I'm just gonna jump in here. Larry Boudreau with Belfield. To my right is Chris Laporte with Passero. Tom is on the phone. Thank you. Of course, Kelly and Jennifer to my left. Thank you very much for continuing moving forward here and everything that's going on. So appreciate that very much.
Sorry,
We're just having some technical difficulties.
You're not the only one
It's the way
tonight.
the night's been going.
It's the way this whole night's been going.
Mars in retrograde.
As I like to point out, we occasionally have the Keystone Cops meetings, and here it is.
Where'd it go?
Yeah, the PDF, no, the PDF, yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is, maybe it's, sorry, Amy, yeah. Front row, Amy gets a front row again. Yeah.
I hate to say, but sometimes if you take the battery out and put it back in, it like wakes it back up again.
He's saying it's not the battery. Okay. We did this the other night.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm Kelly Leibold with KARC Planning Consultants. I think we'll start over. We have just a kind of a brief presentation. We just wanted to go over the modifications to the plans and the elevations that we made on the 13th of this month. There was a very voluminous letter that was submitted that detailed all of the responses to the comments that we had received from the town's consultants and from the planning board. So we provided detailed responses. There were a few items in there that required additional information, mostly the SWIP, but predominantly I think we answered most of the board's questions, hopefully to your satisfaction. And I just, again, kind of in the trees, was going to go over what we had completed. So just big picture is, and I'll show these. We added road profiles. We had regraded, I'll go through these in a minute. We regraded City Winery. If you remember, on the west side of City Winery, we added a vineyard. So we're going to have that area sloping down. Previously, before that, the lower portion of City Winery was exposed, so we brought the grades up and made a nice sloping hill and added a vineyard. We added a lot of landscaping. We went through this at length at the last meeting, so there was a lot of specific trees that were added that the board wanted, and screening for the townhomes from the hotel. We reran the photometric plan because there were some, I think, numbers that weren't correct on the photometric plan, so that was rerun. We added, clarified the trails map. If you remember last time, there were some trails that just kind of dead-ended and went into a wall. So we clarified that, and we added some recreational amenities, including the sports court. Added some additional drainage structures. So I think that's kind of a minimal approach to the site plan changes. We did provide you with a very detailed parking plan. We did those color-coded parking plans, so each parking lot is keyed to a building. We did also the same thing with a refuse plan, so it shows where the refuse containers are, and then they're keyed to the building. Again, the trails map. And then we did a construction phasing plan, so I can show you that. We also made modifications to buildings 300, 400, 700, and 800. And if you recall, those were the specific buildings that had kind of the broad-faced parking garage underneath of it. And the question that this board had was, well, what is that going to look like? And do we need to treat that lower level of the parking garage? The top portion of the building where you have the residences are beautiful, but the lower portion was a little bland. So we actually physically added the landscaping that's on the landscaping plans, and we put them on the elevation, so I can show those to you. And then we made a change to the materials board. I think the board was delivered here. The only change had to do with, you remember, we had PVC for the trim, and that was prohibited in the guidelines. So we changed that to the white hardy, or the cement fibrous product. That board has been brought up to the town, so you have it here, but we also took a picture of it, and we included it in the submission, so it's memorialized, and there was a date on the board, so everyone knows what the board is. So that's kind of a snapshot of the changes. Thank you, Amy, sorry. So again, the site plan, impossible to tell at this level, but we did provide you with the detailed drawings. So we added the grading and so forth for the winery. There was no other substantive changes to the site plan, buildings didn't move and so forth. The landscape, we added all of the road profiles. So there's quite a few. I think there's 3 slides here that are all the road profiles. I'm sure that other than Pete, probably no one wanted to take detailed analysis of the road profiles, but they were all completed. Sorry, Amy, that you have to go through this. Landscaping, again, a lot of details with respect to the landscaping. The original landscaping plan only had trees, and it didn't have a lot of specimen trees. So if you remember last month, we took a lot of time talking about the landscaping and certain trees that needed to be added. So all those notes were added to the plan, the trees were added to the plan, and there was a lot of screening between the hotel and the townhouses. Lighting plan was redone. Again, impossible to see at this scale, but we just wanted to make sure that we referenced it. Thank you, Amy. Okay, and the parking plan, really, this hasn't changed significantly. It's just been keyed to each building, so it's very easy for everyone to see what parking lots are allocated for each building. We added this, so you didn't actually see this. This is just a new slide, but we're going to provide this to you. I know there was a lot of questions about, well, what does the first floor of the parking deck look like? How many spaces are in the first floor of the parking deck? So we keep throwing these numbers out to you, but we really didn't provide you with the evidence of what the first floor looks like. So these are the drawings that we have from the parking lot manufacturer. And so the way parking decks work is, once we know the footprint, it then goes to a separate designer. So civil engineers, we don't really design parking decks. It'll go to a parking deck designer because they're very specific as far as turning radiuses, column spacing. If there's ramps, this one doesn't have ramps. But, so it'll go to that particular person, but we do have rough estimates of the number of spaces that are in that parking lot. We can just do it using basic calculations, and I think it's how many spaces?
The design is 360 on plan, we show 340, so when we get into the detailed design, we have room to...
We're right there. So our preliminary design shows 360 spaces, but our plans, we call out 340. So there's probably going to be some additional loss. So I think we conservatively said
Yes.
340.
That includes 88 spaces?
The what?
That include 88 spaces, the 360?
No, it doesn't, and that's probably
There's
what
no current 88 spaces.
in there.
Okay, that's where you didn't lose your
Probably-
parking.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. But they show, the designers don't take into consideration ADA, so there's 20 additional
How
spaces.
clever of them.
Okay,
To
thank you.
produce a product that can't be actually done, so that's, okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
well, they're preliminary. It's a
That's the whole point
preliminary.
of being at 360. So our goal is 340, and the parking lot allocation plan, it assigned
Right.
340 there.
It looks like we'll be, okay, we'll make it. Okay, sorry, yes.
But what we do is show the EVs, stations and
Show it all over, thank you.
Yeah.
yeah. thank you.
So we then prepared this refuse plan, just so everyone could see where the refuse containers are keyed, again, just like the parking to each building, so it's easy to see where each of those are. And this is the trails map that we updated, and then we added the sports court to this particular map, and then we cleaned up those trails, kind of cleaned up this map altogether. Some of the nomenclature wasn't correct, so we fixed the nomenclature, and we fixed the dead-end trails. Hopefully, those are all fixed.
While you're on this, I just want to point out that one of the sports courts you added is right in front of the entrance to buildings 500 and 600, I believe it is.
Correct.
We don't have a schematic of what the sports court would look like, but generally speaking, they have high chain link fences so balls don't come hitting people. Just want to make sure you guys are thinking carefully about that location, because I wouldn't want to be going into a building where I have kids at my entrance playing ball all day long. It's just me. Maybe I'm just thinking about the success of your location, of the site.
Okay.
I don't know where else you'd put it, but
Right.
I don't want to walk out and see a big chain link fence myself, I'll
That's
be
a good
honest with
point.
you.
Good point.
So this is just
Could you-
kind of
could
a-
you just go back to the other one real
Yep,
quick? I
sorry.
wanted to give the board an update. We have engaged an actual trail designer and builder, so the bottom right of that map there that has that green dash, the rugged trail from the southwest corner bus stop, I should be getting the design in a couple of weeks, and we'll be in construction this summer on that.
Great,
Yep.
great.
Okay. So the sports court, we just kind of threw in there as an image of what we're thinking of for this particular, so they're multi-surface, multi-use sports courts.
It's not the liquor, it's just the location that I'm
Correct.
questioning.
Understood.
And I just, again,
Point taken.
thinking about how you're going to successfully rent your places there.
Okay, all right. You can go to the next slide. So we prepared that construction phasing plan that you just saw, but we cleaned it up because I think it was point taken. I think someone had said it was really hard to see the lines, that they didn't produce well. So we did, Larry went ahead and he colored this so you can really get a sense of what we think the sequencing is going to look like, just for purposes of as we advance the project. But of course, our primary goal initially is the townhouses, which are up on the top right, 2A, and then the other 2A is the Village Green. So that includes City Winery, the Village Green, and the 2 adjacent buildings in that area. Of course, it goes without saying that the roads and the infrastructure are really one, right? So, I mean, that's the first. And so from there, this is our anticipated schedule with really the focus then after that is Main Street and that parking area. That would be the next goal. Okay, so this, you do have the construction phasing plan, but not this colored one, but we can of course get this too. Thanks, Amy. Okay, so this starts with the elevations. So what we did is we added the landscaping at the bottom. So where there's shrubs on the plan, we showed shrubs. Where there's trees, we showed trees, just to show you, we keep saying that, oh, we think that the landscaping is going to prove that elevation and it's going to provide the screening for the parking area. But a picture's worth 1,000 words. So we thought the best thing was to actually physically show you. So we took the landscaping that Chris's office prepared, and we worked with Mike McCormick's office, and we actually simulated the trees and the shrubs on each of the plans. So this is 300 looking west, or the west elevation. This is 300 on the other side, but this was not amended because this is the side that's away from the roadway system. So this is 400, so same thing as we added that whole row of shrubs. And a lot of these are where those planters are. Those planters are being used for the storm system. So that's the area that has the shrubs, and then we have the trees located in there. You can keep going past 400. Okay, then that's 700. This must be fall. And we added the trees for 700. Okay, good. Okay. This is 700 on the other side, which, looks nice with the planters and the shrubs. I think it's going to look nice as a screen. And then I think last is probably 800. It's 800 again with the trees. And then you have some storefronts there, so that's why we don't have the shrubs. And then on the 800 on the other side, that's why we have the shrubbery on this location. Okay, so I think that's the elevations, and then the rest of the elevations, we have like the whole complete set. So that is a snapshot of what was completed. Of course, there's a lot of responses. We provided you with like a 50-page narrative. Thank you for your comments, responding to all of the items. And so we're here to discuss with you any other comments and so forth that you may have, and then any actions that you want to take moving forward.
Before I'm going to ask for a motion to go into attorney-client session.
Well, let's open and close.
Oh, do we not open it? Did I not open it?
There's
We need a
two
motion of the
hearings.
public hearing.
Wait, first public hearing on the site plan.
On the site plan, yes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Just before I ask for that, you also added a bus shelter and some parking, and the bus shelter is shown in an area that is within the setback where no structures are allowed. I talked about this, Ms.
Yeah,
Leibold, about
yeah.
this, just so we can make sure that we stay legal. Ms. Van Tal may think that it's within this board's purview to add structures within the setback, but I don't think Ms. Moss has weighed in on that yet.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I was aware of that as well. So before we keep going, we had some discussion today, so I'd like to go discuss some, yes?
Let's open the site plan, take public comment, then do
Nope.
public hearing on the subdivision, take comment, and then we'll go out.
Okey dokey. Is there any comment from the public about the site plan application? There being none, so you want me to keep this open and open the other one as well?
Continue the hearing to March.
And make it a motion to continue the public hearing until March 15th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Make it a motion to open the public hearing for the subdivision related to this application, the Phase 2 subdivision.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Would there be any public comment about this application? There being none, make it a motion to adjourn this to March 15th as well.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Now may I get a motion to go into attorney-client?
It's,
Is there a second?
Second.
yeah, it's right, to just
All in favor, please say aye.
conversation.
Aye.
And we're going to invite our consultants in on this as well.
For advice of counsel, if
advice
you
of counsel.
believe that your consultants are needed to help explain the legal issues, then yes.
I think we do on this one. I did give Ms. Leibold a heads up on this, just so you know. Okay, so we'll be back in a little bit. We're in recess for a second.
Yeah. If you need to discuss on the issues that they're going to ask about.
Thank you for your patience and forbearance. May I get a motion to go out of attorney-client session and back into regular meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So I think what we're ready to do is to direct our consultants to prepare a resolution for March 15th. We have some big ticket sort of discussion items here. I don't know if you want us to discuss that now or wait until Monday, issued.
Can wait till Monday.
Wait until Monday? This way we can get a chance to keep refining it before Monday, and we can send that over to you before the meeting. For my colleagues, there's going to be an offline meeting. It'll be me, any other 2 members, so we don't have quorum. Rob, possibly? Definitely. Anybody else who can attend?
I believe I'll be available.
Perfect. And that's 1 to 5, 1 to 4?
It was 1 to 5 if needed.
1 to 5 if needed.
On what's the?
Monday. And it'll be here at Town Hall. We have the space
Sixth?
reserved. That is Monday, the
6th.
Right, yeah.
6th.
Yes. So is that acceptable to everybody?
That would be very acceptable. Thank you.
Okay, come with more patience. We'll try to hammer everything through so we can get through it, and we just ask all the, no decisions were made, by the way, attorney-client, but I'm urging all my colleagues to make sure that if they have additional comments from what we've seen so far, that those are issued to Victoria by Tuesday as well, because those will go into the resolution.
Okay.
We think. So.
Terrific.
Anything else?
That's it.
Yes.
Do we need to do anything with the subdivision plat public?
Well, I mean, I'm waiting for your team to give me that narrative about the easements
Okay.
and how
I-
utilities are going to work.
Yep,
Yeah.
I reached out to Lynn again, so
We do need
So it's
that.
really like a declarations
Yeah.
that you're looking for?
Well, I don't need the declaration now. I'm really just looking for the
a
narrative
list of-
who's going to give what
Right.
to whom at what time, and then how all of the utilities are going to work. So is it one utility connection to each condo, and then there's a sub-meter, or, just
Yes,
how
understood.
does everything work?
Just a broad swipe of how it's going to be.
We've been sort of talking
Okay.
about the easement, saying, well, there'll be an easement for that, it'll be owned by HO, it'll be owned by this one, but we need to have a more
Understood.
detailed narrative now.
So we'll bring
We need
that
to know
if
what
we
the
can,
concept-
to the extent that we can get that for Monday.
it'll be done. I'm going to start it.
Okay.
Mr. Boudreau just said he thinks it can be done.
Yeah, I'm going to start it.
Any other comments from the board, my colleagues?
Nope.
Any comments from our consultants?
What we're
or-
talking about is whether it makes more sense to have a closed meeting, not closed,
Well-
but a sub-meeting to put together the conditions on Monday, or to have a full meeting with the applicants.
Because we were just thinking, wouldn't it be that we started to put together, like a resolution with, at least get some conditions going, and then have a meeting? It just seems,
That might be more
it just
productive.
seems like Monday's too soon.
Too soon? Okay.
Well, I think the invite was sent out to everyone, and it seems like everyone is available. We can certainly draft up what we think is a draft resolution,
I
and
think
we've
we
started to
wanna
put
do it.
together our own internal list with the conditions.
I mean, I think that I'll let Victoria speak, go ahead.
I mean, the concept we're working with, just so everyone understands, is it's going to be a heavily conditioned approval. So I think we have to put out the framework for what that's going to look like.
I still think it would be great if we could get together and at least have that dialogue on Monday, and since it seems like everyone's available, and then all of a sudden there isn't a lot of time between then and the 15th, but we could come with what we think is the list and certainly add to it. We have
you don't have time.
Pete's comments, we have some other various comments that we can start a list and bring that to the meeting, and then, at least be efficient and
Why don't we
utilize that
say
time.
that you bring your
You have
list?
your list too.
Why don't-
We could start with that. There's not that much time between now and the 15th. So-
If you bring your list, then we can add that to supplement, but I'll remind the applicants that this is our resolution.
Yes.
Of course,
No
it is.
offense.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Well, I want to make sure that everybody hears that on the record, because the resolution will have to be to the planning board's satisfaction, so we can make
Understood.
sure we get the
Of course.
positive vote. But to the extent that you can supplement what we've started with, that'd be great.
I think that would be fantastic.
And I know that legal minds
Waste of a time.
like to make sure we have every T
Yes.
crossed and said and I dotted.
Yes.
So I think that'd be good. So we'll keep the meeting as is, but start with their list? Start with our list?
We don't take any position on whose list controls, and we fully acknowledge
Oh,
that
they'll be
any
merged together.
resolution
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
your resolution. We're willing to meet tomorrow, Friday.
Yes, I know. Your boss
So
finally
we
told you
don't
you
have
have
to
free
wrap
time to
this
meet, but the rest of us don't have
Right.
time to meet.
Right.
I'm sorry, but that's the case.
Should we split the baby and do 2 hours to put our list together, and then we can do 2 hours with the applicant to go over?
That sounds fine to me, too. Can we wait until 3 to come that day, on Monday?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's
And if we have to
fine.
run even longer than 5, I guess we can. I have the keys to get in and out of here, so does
Absolutely.
everybody else.
So we
And I
will
know
be
the alarm
here,
code.
we'll be here at 3 o'clock.
Okay, so 3
Now,
o'clock.
do you have to leave right at 5, Victoria?
I have to be in Dover by 7, and I just
And you
need,
need to prep probably.
I don't really need to, I don't know. Well, I'm going to have the morning to prep for that meeting, so I should be okay. I just want to leave enough time to get there.
Yes, okay.
And I'm anticipating this won't be, we won't be reaching an end. Well, what I want to do
We'll get
on
closer.
Monday is to get close and then work on the refinements the rest
Well,
of the
that's
week.
true, that's true.
But we need to
And,
get some.
This isn't a charrette, in other
Board
words, there's a
members
lot
may
more
have
than what
specific
probably we
things
could
that
handle
they
for a
want.
charrette.
Right.
Too, so
Exactly.
I guess we
And
can add
again,
them later, I
we'll be
guess.
available Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, next week.
No,
Not to
I'm
be
not gonna work
pushy.
as hard then.
Okay, so we will see you guys informally on Monday at 3 o'clock.
Very good. Okay.
And you're welcome.
But, so if you, it sounds like you may already have started putting your list together. If you want to send that to us
We'll
in
do that.
advance, that's
Send it for
helpful.
whatever it's
So-
worth, I mean, obviously.
We'll start it. Okay. Very good.
I'm going to work on the other thing with Lynn, and we'll get.
We can't hear over the new, I think what you're saying is the easement list, which we're talking about.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Waters there's some changes and some missing things on the architectural elevations. I think he wants to get a copy, though, of what he has, because he's just
That
handwritten
would
it.
be
so
fantastic. That would be great.
If Pete could take it to his office.
Yeah,
and
we can
a
make,
copy.
we can make like copies of plans.
And
We
then
can
get them to Mr. McCormick, but, you know, I don't know if Mr. McCormick has any time after, could he?
He can work every day, apparently, on this.
Could you meet with me afterwards, just?
Well,
so I
remember,
can show you?
they're available 24/7, according to
Yeah,
what
Michael,
Tom said.
can you meet with Rob after you get a copy, so he can go through them?
Or prior to, I could show him now what I'm
Yeah.
anticipating, so he's not shocked or says this is a lot, but it's kind of explanatory. It's not, it's moving some,
Michael, do you have time to meet tonight, or do you want to wait till tomorrow? It's up to you. It's going to be informal, just the
be
two of
very
you.
quick. We'll,
There were some changes, some call-out things that look like they got changed at the last minute. I know how these things happen.
colors, things like that.
Okay, so we'll see you next Monday, and I'm sure there'll be dialogue.
Yes.
There's going to be dialogue.
Of course.
There's been dialogue every day, let's be
And
honest.
thank you, because this has been, I say this again, a great collaborative effort. This is how really projects should advance.
Well, the town is interested in seeing the project move
Agree.
forward, let's be honest.
We agree.
You've
We
heard
are.
nothing but praise up here all along,
Yes,
so, or at
absolutely.
least sometimes maybe not so much praise, but usually praise, so.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you for all of your support. We really are very grateful. I'm pointing out one particular planning board member, but thank you, everyone, for all of your support.
Yeah, it's nice way last night.
Yes,
And
we're grateful.
we already opened and closed the public hearings. That brings me to the penultimate item on the agenda tonight, that the chair is adding at the last moment. Resolution 23-B, March 1st, 2023, Planning Board, the Town of Hyde Park, a resolution of appreciation for Ann Weiser. Whereas Ann Weiser has served 6 years as a member of the Planning Board of the Town of Hyde Park, and whereas during her tenure on the board, Ms. Weiser served with distinction as a valued member of the Planning Board, and whereas Ms. Weiser was always well informed about and involved in board deliberations and consistently provided sage counsel, and whereas Ms. Weiser was integrally involved in reviews conducted by the Planning Board and made herself available to numerous non-quorum meetings with applicants, and whereas the Planning Board of the Town of Hyde Park wishes to express its appreciation to Ms. Weiser for her unwavering and devoted service to residents, business, and property owners of the Town of Hyde Park.
You got it.
Now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby extends its appreciation to Ann Weiser for her distinguished service to the town and her commitment to improving the operations of its planning board.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion other than? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. We have one absent, but I know whoever vote would be, which should be a positive as yes. So thank you, and we're going to miss you.
I know. I don't know how that happened.
And may I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No.
Yes.
I checked.